Hi, I'm Rob from B&H. A few years ago, we took a look at two excellent DJ controllers, the S4 from Native Instruments and the Denon MC6000 from Denon. Well, recently, Mark II versions of both have been released, so we figured it might be a good time for round two. Now, to be clear, for this new version, the Denon MC6000 has lost the DN. It's just the MC6000 Mark II, and the S4 Mark II is simply called the S4. Since these are both Mark II versions, they're not radical reinventions, more like refinements of what were already great products. The basic enclosures haven't changed, although of the two, the Denon got a bit more of an overhaul to work better as a Serato controller. Going over the basics for those folks who might not be familiar with these, both controllers have built-in sound cards, and they both allow you to control up to 4 virtual decks on your Mac or PC. Both feature 4 volume faders, each with a 3-band EQ, gain knobs, Q button, and a crossfader. The S4 features a dedicated filter knob, but you can use the parameter knobs on the MC6000 for filtering. Both feature browsing knobs, so you can search for tracks. The Denon offers forward and backward buttons as well. On either side of the mixer are the Traktor Kontrol sections, giving you buttons, jog wheels, and pitch faders to control the virtual decks. On the S4, the jog wheels now have aluminum tops. The tops still indents for scratching, but the feel has improved. Also improved on the S4 are the rubberized RGB transport and Q buttons. They feel better and look better, especially if you plug the controller into a power source, as the extra juice makes them glow brighter. The MC6000 now has silver tops on the jog wheels. As before, the wheels on both units feature scratching on the top and pitch bending on the sides, and the left one controls decks 1 and 3, while the right toggles between 2 and 4, although the S4 labels the decks A through D. Both units feature pitch sliders and key lock functions, so you can adjust the tempo without altering the pitch, and sync buttons to outsource beat matching duties to the computer. On the MC6000, the pitch faders now show up on the lower left and right respectively, which is an ergonomic improvement. Both decks feature hot cues and sample playback buttons. On the MC6000, the 4 buttons share those duties. On the S4, there are 4 hot cue buttons and 4 sample playback buttons that playback samples using Traktor's remix decks. I love that the sample play buttons will play the first sample from the remix deck on that side, even if the rest of the controls are operating the track deck. If you're using a track deck rather than a remix deck, the buttons can be used for Beatjump Functions. From left to right, it's 4 beats backwards, 1 beat backwards, 1 beat forward, and 4 beats forward. Direct loop is also an option with similar button functionality. Loop the previous 8 beats, the previous 4 beats, the next 4 beats, and the next 8 beats. You can also set these up as additional hot cues if the 4 dedicated hot cue buttons aren't enough. Both decks feature dedicated looping control areas that allow you to set and adjust loops on the fly. In addition to creating loops on individual channels, using the S4 and Traktor allows you to create loops on the master output as well. Both units also allow you to use loops and hot cues while the track plays away in the background, so when you go back to the track, you'll be at the spot it would have been had it been playing all along. On the S4 with Traktor, this feature is activated with the Flux button, while on the MC6000 with Serato, it's called Slip Mode. Similar on the MC6000 with Serato is the loop roll function that triggers a momentary auto loop. The roll can be from a 30-second beat up to 32 bars, and when you release the roll, the track continues playing from where it would have been. Speaking of Serato, unlike the Mark I version, which shipped with Virtual DJ LE, the MC6000 Mark II now ships with Serato Intro, and it's been tailored to make it a better fit with the full version of the software. So for example, there are dedicated buttons in the center section for the panel, view, area, and list pages on Serato. Keep in mind though that you will have to pay for the upgrade to the full version. The MC6000 now also supports the optional Serato video plugin, so you can program, mix, add transition effects, and scratch video just like you would audio, although I didn't personally test that feature. In addition to Serato, the MC6000 is natively supported by Virtual DJ and Mixvibes Cross, but since it's a fully compliant MIDI controller, you can use it to control any MIDI-based DJ software, and Denon DJ supplies Traktor Mappings, which worked just fine when we tried it with Traktor 2.6. The S4, on the other hand, is really designed to be a Traktor controller, but it does feature a MIDI mode, so you could map the controls to other software using the NI controller editor software. Also new in the Mark II version of the MC6000 are the channel assign buttons for the effect sections. You get 2 effect sections and either can be assigned to any of the 4 channels with these new assigned keys. Also in the effects department is the Beats parameter knob that gives you tactile control over beat timed effects. And there's also an effects tap button to manually time the BPM of effects. Both Serato and Traktor allow you to toggle between a single effect mode that has 1 effect with multiple parameters available, or a multi-effect mode with up to 3 effects in the bank, but the trade-off is less adjustable parameters. On the S4, there's a dedicated button that changes the mode. The S4 Mark II now has a booth output, which is a major development, but the implementation is a little weird. The S4 gives you 2 stereo outs in the back, an unbalanced RCA pair that always gets its feed from the main output, and a TRS pair with a volume knob that can be switched between the booth and the main output. Now personally, I would rather have a balanced output feeding the main system, and I don't want to be reaching behind the controller for the booth volume knob, which you're probably going to be adjusting a lot. So you might want to consider leaving the TRS output set to main and hook the RCA outs to the booth speakers. Now this setup lets you use the main level out to control the booth volume. And of course this means your master output is controlled by the volume knob in the back, but you can set that level and forget about it and control all your levels with the faders and gain knobs. This might not be the best setup for everyone, but it is an option. Over on the MC6000, the booth output is better implemented. You get dedicated TRS outs for the booth as well as balanced XLR outs and unbalanced RCA outs to feed the mains, and the booth level and channel assign are easily accessible right from the front panel. One thing the MC6000 Mark II has ditched is the 2-band EQ for the booth output that was on the original. In terms of inputs, the MC6000 is more versatile, which is not really surprising since, unlike the S4, it can be used as a standalone mixer without a computer. A total of 4 stereo RCA line inputs are on the back, 2 of which are switchable between phono and line and can be routed to faders using these switches above the gain knobs. Also in the back are our 2 mic inputs, one a 1/4 inch and the other an XLR with separate level controls for both on the upper left of the face. The EQs for the 2 mic inputs and the mic echo knob are still down here along with the crossfader settings, but in addition the headphone monitor volume and the Q master blend are now down here as well. The S4 does offer 2 stereo RCA inputs, switchable between phono and line that can be routed to faders A and B respectively, and a 1/4 inch mic input with a gain knob shows up here as well. Traktor's DJ app for iOS devices has been very popular, and one of the cool features on the S4 Mark II is that it now works with the app, and NI even supplies a USB to 30-pin dock connection cable. Neither the Traktor app or the S4 will work with iOS 7, but NI indicates the upcoming 7.1 update will restore functionality. The MC6000 does not offer iOS support, at least at this point. Both controllers sound great. The audio card on the original Denon MC6000 sounded very good, and it's been improved for the Mark II, but it can't play back 24-bit 96 kHz files the way the S4 can. But do you really need to play 96 kHz files? That's a lot of space on the hard drive. Now, I'm just scratching the surface really on what these controllers can do. Which one is right for you? Well, the conclusion for round 2 is pretty much the same as it was when I reviewed the original models. If you're using Traktor, the S4 is a Traktor dream machine, and it will work with the Traktor app for iOS devices, although like I said, we're still waiting for iOS 7 functionality at the moment. On the other hand, the MC6000 has very solid integration for Serato users, is a more versatile piece, and it plays nice with other DJing software, including Traktor. The larger size of the S4 makes it ergonomically easier to use, but it takes up more room in the DJ booth. The MC6000 is smaller, but some DJs might find it a bit cramped, although the ergonomics have improved on the Mark II. Either way, they are both outstanding controllers to DJ with. I'm Rob from B&H, and thanks for watching.
Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, B&H has the answers to your questions. Experience a world of technology at our New York City Superstore. Connect with us online or give us a call. Our staff of experts is happy to help.